a prelude for a public hearing to answer questions about his contacts with Russia during the campaign. He was not under oath today. Joining me now, Democratic Senator Chris Coons, a member of the Judiciary Committee who was in part of that meeting with Don Jr. Tell me what you can about whether he answered all of these questions, the questions while you were there.
Well, Andrea, first, I very much look forward to a public hearing in front of the full Judiciary Committee where the questions that many members have could get answered. I heard Donald Trump Jr.'s prepared statement, but did not get to stay for the hours of questioning from staff that followed. Today on the Appropriations Committee, we move forward some critical bipartisan efforts to provide support for a lot of different crises America's facing, whether it's opioid and heroin abuse or the response to Hurricane Harvey. There is, in fact, a vote right now on the Senate floor to support moving forward with a $15 billion appropriation to support emergency response. It's going to take much more than that to deal with the fires all across the West and Hurricane Irma that's already ravaged the U.S. Virgin Islands and about to hit to Florida as well. So there's a lot of bipartisan work to do here. My hope is that on a bipartisan basis, the Judiciary Committee will have a public hearing later this month where Donald Trump Jr. will answer all the questions that may not have been addressed in today's staff interview.
In his opening statement, according to the New York Times, he said that he wanted to find out what it is that they might have to indicate that Hillary Clinton was not fit for office. And then, if he was going to take it further, he would consult counsel. But one wonders why he brought the campaign manager and Jared Kushner and others into the meeting with him without bringing his lawyer, if he thought there were any legal issues.
That is one question that his prepared statement raised. One of the questions I have that I hope to ask him in an open session that I didn't hear addressed while I was present was the email transcript that suggests that his response to being told that Putin and Putin's regime were trying to help his father win the election wasn't surprise, wasn't I need to report this, but was instead, great, let's go ahead with the meeting.
One of the things that Hillary Clinton writes about in her book, which we've now been able to see and read, is that she was so concerned about the late hit, as she viewed it, from Director Comey, from the FBI director. When he reopened the investigation on October 28th, she was flying to Iowa. We saw her reactions, and she wrote, "Was this a bad joke? It had to be. The FBI wasn't the Federal Bureau of Ifs or Innuendos. Its job was to find out the facts. What the hell was Comey doing?" Obviously, that was a real momentum killer in terms of all the polling and all of our own political analysis.
Andrea, what was striking to me about the choice that former FBI Director Comey made was that he felt compelled to make a public statement just before the election about one investigation. As we now know, at that time there were two investigations going on, one into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, and the other into possible misuse of emails by Hillary Clinton and a failure to fully disclose. I think the FBI director should have commented on both or neither, but for him to choose at that time to comment on only one of those two so close to the election was a choice I strongly disagree with.
You know, a lot of people have said that Hillary Clinton has not been introspective enough about the campaign, about the election, about her own mistakes. But she does write in this book, "I never quite shook the false perception that I was the defender of the status quo. In my more introspective moments, I do recognize that my campaign in 2016 lacked the sense of urgency and passion that I remember from the 1992 campaign." So she's beginning to deal with that painful process, clearly, in writing this book.
That's right, Andrea. I haven't taken the time to read it yet. I look forward to having a chance to review it. But right here, right now in the Senate, we're working on a bipartisan basis to deliver relief for the folks in the Gulf Coast who suffered from Hurricane Harvey. We're praying for those who are bracing for the impact of Hurricane Irma in Florida and those who've already been hit in the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico.
And I know you have to go vote. There is an amendment that Rand Paul has put up to offset the relief money with cuts in foreign aid. And I know you, as a member of those committees on that, you're going to have a clear vote on that. I assume you are against it.
I'm against it because we're at a moment of record humanitarian need across the world. There are 4 different places where there's famine conditions. We have more refugees than at any point since the Second World War. And I support working in a bipartisan way to make our foreign assistance more effective, more transparent. But I don't think this is the time for us to cut it by billions and billions of dollars. The president's budget proposed eliminating the Food for Peace program, which uses U.S. commodities to feed millions of hungry people around the world. I've recently led a bipartisan trip to a refugee camp in northeastern Nigeria, and I've seen what a great difference the World Food Program and the United States support for humanitarian efforts makes around the world. I'll be voting against Rand Paul's amendment.
Thank you very much. I know you got to run. Thank you, Senator. And next hour, President Trump will be having a joint press conference with the Emir of Kuwait. That's coming up right here on MSNBC. Stay with us.